Thanks for joining us. I've heard some inspiring examples throughout the day of people using AI to improve the human outcomes, experience of the world around us. And I'm going to share a story about some things that my own R&D team is doing to help improve human experience of the designed world around us. But first, let me set a little context. Autodesk is a company that makes software for people who design and make things, architects, engineers, designers. You may have heard of AutoCAD, for example. That usually rings a bell. And so, that's who we are. And have any of you ever experienced a building or some sort of an outdoor space and just felt, wow, who designed this? This design is just awful, right? You just look at it and you wonder, like, what were they thinking when they designed this, right? Presumably there was a person who had good intentions, but sometimes those good intentions just don't lead to the desired outcome. That doesn't look very comfortable, does it? It kind of makes you wonder, how can we get better at designing things for positive outcomes, right? Things that spark joy or foster connection, spaces that foster connection, things that just work well for humans. Each of us spends about 90% of our lives in designed spaces. And so how often do we think about how does that space really make us feel? Traditional design processes rarely take this into account. When a design process uses a building-centric approach, the designer is designing a building and then they're kind of simulating the environmental factors around the building, how the sun hits it, how the wind hits it, et cetera. But in the past few years, we've had advances in technology that lets us really take more of a human-centric approach. So what if instead of designing from that building-centric view, we focused on the human and used a human-centric approach to building? So that's what our AI research team set out to do. And I'll tell you a little story of an experiment that we ran. First of all, our R&D team started out with two hypotheses. One is that we need to capture the human experience. We need multimodal data to do this. So, both high-tech ML and 360 video and stuff, and just low-tech stuff like survey data from people experiencing an environment. And second, since shared experiences often define a successful public space, we need the design process to be collaborative. And so to understand this, they collaborated with the Bentway, which is, it's in Toronto, Canada, and it's this space under an expressway, as you can see here in the picture. It was revitalized in 2018. And the idea was to set up a collaborative design platform to see how humans experience the space. And so you see the helmet here that the participants were wearing. It's fitted with cameras, 360 video, and you might notice, it's kind of hard to see from where you sit, but there's also a camera that is focused on the person's face to capture their facial expressions. So the participants were asked to walk through the space, experience it, narrate their experience, and we're collecting data as we go. So using object detection and facial inference, we're able to capture a lot of data here. You can see here that we're categorizing trees, the sky, the cars in the picture, and everything. We're also capturing the facial expressions on the people as they're walking through the space. And so we use this to determine the human experience. And we found some unexpected things. For example, The researchers thought naturally that humans would prefer open spaces. They want to see the sky. They want as much light as possible. But through this experiment, they learned that some people actually liked the fact that they were covered, under this roadway. Here's one of the comments from a participant. I liked the semi-enclosed tunnel-like experience. Even though it's concrete, I like that it's part enclosed and you can't see the sky so readily, especially as a person concerned with skin cancer. And if it's raining, you're sheltered. So, we learn things like this throughout the process. All right, so far, some pretty basic techniques here, right? We're labeling things in video, we're capturing facial expressions. You might be wondering, where's the application of AI that we all came to this conference for? So we're going to go deeper here. Clearly, we don't want to design by having thousands of people wear helmets like this and walking around to record data, right? What we want is the ability to do this at scale, and we want the ability to do this at the design phase before we've built something. So we want to be able to predict the human experience of a space before we build it. And so let's get deeper into the realm of how we can apply AI here. So to scale up this research and to embed it in the human-centric design process, what our researchers did is they used the human experience data to train models, to train personal experience agents, if you will. So now you've got this virtual agent that's been trained on real human experience data, but you can apply it and have it walk through places where the human has never physically walked through themselves. And you can understand how the human would experience that space that is yet to be built. So you can imagine a designer building a library, for example, and they want to understand the experience, so they release these digital agents to kind of walk through the library, and they uncover things. Where would be the ideal place to read a book? How's the lighting? Is there a certain place that needs a little more lighting? Are there too many distractions? And so this is how we've applied this to the design phase. Now, our human needs go beyond just aesthetics, of course, right? We need clean air, we need clean water. We need a planet where our children, our grandchildren can prosper and thrive, right? And so there's another area where we're applying AI, and that's to sustainability. A few areas, and this is stuff that we're doing today in our design software. We're able to track the carbon footprint of a building from the design stage to help designers to choose materials and choose designs that will really maximize sustainability and minimize the carbon footprint. Another area is flood modeling. So we can run simulations at scale to look at how the landscape will react to flooding, perform deluge analysis to understand drainage requirements before a building or a cityscape is built. And we can also apply AI to minimize risk to the humans involved in the construction process through things like electrocution and other safety issues that occur on construction sites. Sorry, one more thing on that. So clearly there's a lot of possibilities here with AI, but we need to make sure that everything we build is trustworthy and built in a responsible way. And so I would propose certain AI principles that I think we can all get behind. First of all, AI should be used to enhance human ingenuity, not to replace us, right? It's to empower people to design and make anything and enabling humans to focus on the more interesting tasks. Testing. Thank you. Okay, I'm back. So, AI should help organizations build trusting partnerships with their stakeholders. And finally, our AI solutions empower designers and engineers to use the Earth's resources sustainably to make a better world. So designing and making a better world can't just be done in isolation. We need to work together to make sure that quality of life is improved for everyone. And so, I think we're all here at this summit because AI is really on a trajectory to change our human experience for better or for worse. And we choose better, right? And so in order to do that, we need to make sure AI is trusted. And I like to propose some trust principles for AI. We need to be responsible, of course, when we're developing AI. We need to be responsible in how we collect and use data. We should be reliable and accurate when we develop AI-based tools. We must always be transparent with our stakeholders about what we're doing with their data, how we're training models, etc. We've got to be accountable to regulations, follow rules, and finally, safety and security is critical. So, as we go forward in this era of AI-powered design, I just want to say that AI should never replace humanity. It's here to help us improve it, to improve outcomes, and create outcomes that are meaningful and responsible. I invite you all to join me in envisioning a future where we use AI to improve the human experience, and I invite you all to join me in making that future a reality. Thank you.
Do I have a mic? We do. That was great. Questions from the floor, please raise your hands. In this, I was amazed to hear about this library that you had built, and then you sent little AI avatars trained on people's experience in the real world. Did you put real books in the library? Like, were they actually go in and find real books, or?
I don't think the books were there.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
So. Obviously, architects go through a huge amount of training to try and build these sort of spaces. How does that sort of experience augment the work of an architect? Because presumably architects, they love to go, I'm going to spend all the money you don't have on building this library, right? But make it beautiful. They'll be thinking about light and so on. How does your approach and using these AI avatars, and I thought it was so cool the way they're trained on that environment. Yeah. How does that augment the work of an architect designing a building?
That's the key, is it's about augmenting, right? It's not about replacing an architect. The architect brings to bear their experience in building things and designing
and their style.
Things, right? And style.
And their lack of understanding of what a budget is.
Right.
Sorry, you may notice I have had issues with my own architect. You may have noticed that.
But the key is to add on additional analysis and additional insights that sometimes, unfortunately, we would discover after the building has been done, right? And it becomes very expensive.
Yeah.
And so, nobody is perfect, and it's about using this technology to find ways to optimize, but to amplify the humanity in human-centric design.
I loved looking at the facial expressions of these avatars as they were looking at spaces and giving feedback. I think that's so cool. Do we have questions from the floor? Yes, a lady over there, if we get a microphone. Please introduce yourself, madam. to give us a bit of context? Thank you.
Hello. Hi, my name's Jennifer Fruhoff. I'm with Salesforce. So I'm very well acquainted with human-centered design, which this fits into. My question is, has Autodesk experimented with synthetic user insights at all? And what is your opinion on that?
Synthetic user insights?
Yes. So in replacement of actual human data, the multimodal data you showed, in getting and deriving those insights from actually synthetic sources, the reliability of those, what is your view on that? And have you experimented with that?
That's interesting. That is most likely an area that our R&D team is also working on. I'm not familiar with exactly, the reliability that they've found in it. I know that they were really proud of the ability to, instead of use synthetic insights, to start with truly, human-sourced insights and experiences, and then scale up that into more of a synthetic representation of those human experiences. But certainly there's a lot of work they're doing as well with synthetic data. So I'm guessing they would also include synthetic insights in that.
In your use of, thank you, in your implementation of AI at Autodesk with something like AutoCAD, is it down the road where an architect would start with a building, have the space, feed in the information, and then feed in budget and materials, and be able to just have ideas generated in terms of what would work in this corner? Say, I want this amount of light or whatever. Is that something that you're working towards at AutoCAD?
Yeah, absolutely. There's generative design is definitely on the roadmap, and we've actually been developing a lot of AI and ML-based capabilities in the products for many years.
Yeah.
So we have some of those things already. But yeah, the idea is to be able to put in constraints, put in requirements, and generate ideas that fit those constraints.
Yeah, make sure you put in a budget. I'm going on about this too much. Yes, there's a gentleman over there.
Let's keep it.
Please introduce yourself. Stand up, sir. Thank you.
Hi, Zildjian Boon from Boonify Rotterdam. I have kind of a bit more of a personal question, but I myself am also a 3D animator and artist, and I'm a big fan of the Autodesk Maya software. I've been using it for quite some time. You were speaking about how in AutoCAD there might be implementations of AI or ML in the future, which you guys are already working on in your products. I was wondering if you ever forecast to see any future kind of implementations like that in your kind of 3D arts and animation products such as Autodesk Maya. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Absolutely. And in fact, we already have some AI capabilities in Maya. But all the capabilities that we're introducing right now, they're meant to, they're not meant to replace the creator, the human creator that's behind the desk. They're really meant to augment, to eliminate repetitive tasks, and to help out the creators. So that's what we're focused on right now. And there's a lot of repetitive tasks. Also, you talked about 3D and stuff like that. One of our recent acquisitions, Wonder Dynamics, what they help with is kind of scaling up scenes where you've got like thousands and thousands of extras in a crowd, where it's hard to get that many people to show up on set. It's cumbersome. So something like that, is where AI can help.
Yeah,
but it's all about augmenting the creator.
And I've seen some of that in action. It's fantastic. Sebastian, thank you so much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, Sebastian Goodwin.
Thank you.